there is a very nice cool breeze coming down this tunnel. This is Croesor Slate Quarry, located not too far from Blaenau in Snowdonia, North Wales. Huge slate quarry, like many of the places around this area, and it does connect to the nearby Croesor quarry underground, and it is possible to do a through trip from one quarry into the other. So this is just the entrance section I'm going to do today, because you can only go so far into this way through Croesor because you come across a flooded chamber which then has to be traversed by a boat or some other means, which I do not have with me today. So you can go so far in down this one single passage. Opens up into a bigger chamber further on. There is a slope shaft going down to another level, which again is flooded. And that's about it, before you have to get a boat and go across one of the flooded chambers. And I will correct myself before going any further. I've since learnt that you can go further into the mine by ascending the main slope shaft, which you'll see shortly. And I think this is actually the main route to take to complete the through trip. And also, like many slate quarries around here, there is a bit of water to deal with on the way in. Nothing that can't be managed. It's a nice big spacious passage coming down into the main chamber. It's quite a nice one to do actually, because it's relatively easy to get to. You can walk to it from Croesor. They're about a kilometre apart on the surface, I believe. As you come down the tunnel, you'll find various shafts up to the surface, some of which now contain some small waterfalls, as you'll probably hear as we get closer. It is a pretty long way up to the top. I can't see any lights on the top of that shaft. But walking on the hill above the quarry, you can see holes up as you go down. Small little side chamber as you come in. Not much to see in this one. A little bricked doorway with a very rusty iron gate. And as you get to the end of the tunnel, probably about 200 meters or so in length, this takes you into this larger chamber. You can still make out where the sleepers would have been just about for the rails. I'm guessing it kind of split from that tunnel into a couple of individual tracks coming into this area. Goes off in a couple of directions, but you can't really go too far in either of them. Little workman's room over here. Quite a nice roof actually. So they've done a nice job on the walls and that, and then they've just left the roof as it is. Quite effective. Not much in here beyond that. Don't know what this room would have been used for. Got some old, they look like old speakers. That's a bit of a weird thing to find in a mine. How strange. And this is where you'll find the slope shaft to another level. Completely flooded though. So I don't know how far down that goes. Would be very interesting to find out, of course, one day. Can probably see about 4 or 5 meters down before the reflection just kind of takes over. I'm guessing this would have been the remains of some sort of winding machine taking up minecarts from that slope shaft. Up here, and then back along to the main tunnel and out of the quarry over there. Not much left of this one. In some other mines there's quite good remains of what these sort of winding machines used to look like. Very good example in Monofrin mine, which is pretty close by. And if you go through here, this is where you'll see the flooded chamber. So for this video it is the end of the line, unfortunately, until I get myself a rubber dinghy to get across. You can still just about make out the overall size of the chamber though. Absolutely huge. Incredible to think the amount of water that's holding. And I'm guessing if you can get across this little section, over there is where you'll continue the trip through the mine and eventually get around to Croesor, about a kilometre away on the other end. Yeah, that's not correct, so ignore me there. To get over to Rosid, you have to go up this shaft here, and I believe further on there is a pitch. So you can only go so far before you require some climbing equipment and ropes and stuff. Yeah, I can just about see the end from here. I'm not sure you'll pick it up on camera, but it is a very, very big chamber. I plan on coming back here with said rubber dinghy to get across that flooded chamber, and hopefully there'll be a lot more to see past that point. I can actually just make out the light from the entrance from here. It does show it is a very, very straight tunnel. A few extra bits around here, not a lot. Not sure what this was, some sort of control panel. Quite a lot of this sort of stuff is found lying around in these old slate mines. Lots of electrics and stuff. A bit hard to work out what it was all for, unless you're a bit more of an expert on the subject matter. That's just a dead-end chamber down there. And same for through here, I believe. Not much to see, unfortunately. Yeah, just looks like a big collapse. That goes back through to the slope shaft, going downwards. Old remains of bits still in the ceiling, not sure what that was for. But yeah, a nice little place to come to for a very quick explore. I always say to myself coming down here, it would have been so incredible to see it all operating back when it was fully operational. In terms of the surface buildings and what's underground, at least in this initial entrance section, it's actually quite small scale compared to what I've seen in other slate mines. But it is fun to pick up all the individual details of what's left behind and try and map together what would have happened. And I'm sure there's still some people alive today that perhaps used to work down in these sort of places, possibly, maybe. I think I'm not sure about this mine, but some of the nearby ones have been operating up until about the 1990s. So relatively not that long ago. Bear in mind these sort of places became operational in probably the mid-1800s sort of time, I would guess. Yeah. So yeah, I plan on coming back here with the rubber dinghy, going across that main flooded chamber and seeing what's on from there. I should probably highlight the importance of being aware of the dangers of coming into places like this. I've been camped out outside of this quarry overnight, and mountain rescue came at about 3 in the morning, and apparently 2 or 3 people who had come into this mine from another entrance, hadn't shown up. And so they sent a couple of search parties in after them at either entrance, Croesor and Rosid, to see if they could find them. Which I assume they did, because they weren't there in the morning when I woke up. But these are huge, vast places and quite hazardous in a lot of areas, so if you are going to come and explore them, you have got to be careful and come prepared.